The police shooting of a 26-year-old Indigenous woman in New Brunswick has raised all kinds of questions. The Edmundston police had been asked to do a wellness check on Chantel Moore on Thursday. Her family, Indigenous leaders, and Canada's Indigenous Services Minister want to know why the officer who checked on her shot her and killed her.
I'm pissed. I'm outraged. There needs to be a full accounting of what has gone on. This is a pattern that keeps repeating itself.
Global's Silas Brown is in Edmundston, New Brunswick, looking for answers.
It's been 1 day since Chantel Moore was shot and killed by Edmundston police inside her home, and a growing chorus of people are chanting for justice. And for some, justice means answers.
1, finding out the truth. 2, honoring that truth. And the third piece, giving life to that truth. So that, to me, is complete justice.
The Nachalnith Tribal Council is calling for an immediate, independent investigation to provide just that. The 26-year-old Moore, originally from British Columbia, was shot by an officer performing a wellness check. Edmundston police have handed the investigation off to Quebec's police watchdog. But for Mariah Charlson, the incident speaks to the need to better train police in de-escalation and trauma-informed practices.
We don't want to see any more of our women, Indigenous women, men, anybody, any human being. We do not want to see our people dying at the hands of the police doing a health check.
According to Lorraine Whitman, the president of the Native Women's Association of Canada, fear and distrust is inherent in any encounter an Indigenous person has with the police.
And that fear is within, and I can't imagine how this young lady would have felt that hour of the morning and a police officer coming to the door and knocking.
Because the officer went in alone and Edmundston police are not equipped with body cameras, we may never know what happened. But Moore's family and her community will not stop trying to find out and to find justice. Silas Brown, Global News, Edmundston, New Brunswick.
Now, back to the simmering anger in the United States. President Trump did nothing to quell it today. Instead, he hailed this as a good day for George Floyd and a great, great day in terms of equality. That is not how millions of people see it. Trump has called for authorities to dominate the streets. As Jackson Proskow reports, there's growing concern some police officers are responding too harshly to peaceful protesters.
In a nation on edge, mass protests are pushing Americans to their limits. In Buffalo, New York, a 75-year-old man was shoved to the ground by riot police. He suffered a serious head injury. At first, police claimed he tripped. They later suspended the officers involved.
Why? Why was that necessary? Where was the threat?
It comes after a week that saw Buffalo police struck by a car during protests, and as the debate rages over the proper use of force nationwide.
Are you serious?
In New York, a delivery driver was arrested for violating curfew, despite being exempt as an essential worker. And when police unleashed tear gas and pepper spray balls on protesters outside the White House Monday, officers brutalized an Australian TV crew.
Exactly what it looks like. We're just staying safely.
Oh! Whoa! Later claiming they failed to clearly identify themselves as journalists despite holding a camera.
You have to dominate the streets. You can't let what's happening happen. It's called dominate the streets.
The president continues to call for a heavy-handed response from his perch behind the 2 kilometers of new fencing that surround the White House. Trump even suggested this is a positive moment for race relations in America, invoking the name of George Floyd.
Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Instead of discouraging marchers, the police response seems to have drawn larger crowds in peaceful protest.
No justice! No peace!
The demands for accountability and reform are growing louder.
It took a war to end slavery. And if it takes protests, if it takes people holding up signs, if it takes people coming out and just petitioning for people like my life, my skin color, my friend's skin color to matter, then that's a lot better than me.
This weekend, cities across America are bracing for massive demonstrations, perhaps the largest to date. A sign that the death of George Floyd has triggered the Great Awakening long sought by so many. Tonight in Buffalo, 57 members of the city's riot squad have resigned en masse to protest the disciplinary action taken against their colleagues. And back here in Washington, the feud continues between the city's mayor and the president inside the White House. Today, the mayor ordered city crews to come out here to the 2 blocks leading up to the White House and paint a Black Lives Matter mural in road paint. The letters are 4 lanes wide and span 2 city blocks. And the street directly in front of the White House has been renamed Black Lives Matter Plaza. Donna, tonight many of the troops that were brought into this area in case they were needed are in fact being sent back home.
All right, Jackson Proskow in Washington, thank you.